Jesus, his mother Mary, and the disciples have been invited to a wedding in Cana. They're there to celebrate two becoming one, to celebrate two families coming together to form one new family, to celebrate a new covenant of love. A lot of time has passed at the celebration when it comes to the point that the wedding host has actually run out of wine before the party is over. The wedding host has run out of wine to serve his guests, and Mary notices this. And in Mary's heart, she's feeling sad for the couple. She doesn't want to see this party end. She doesn't want to see this party disband. She wants to see it keep going because this is this couple's special moment, and a part of the celebration is wine. It just is. So Mary looks at Jesus and she begins thinking to herself, Jesus is my son, but Jesus is also the Son of God. He can fix this problem. So she leans into Jesus and she says, Jesus, they've run out of wine. And of course, when you translate that, what really is going on, Mary's telling Jesus, hey, they've run out of wine. Can you please do something about it, my son? And Jesus unexpectedly looks back at Mary and says, dear woman, why are you involving me in this? It's my time has not yet come. Mom, why are you bothering me with this? It's not my time yet. And of course, Mary, being who Mary is, she kind of puts Jesus on the spot. She looks at some servants and she looks at these servants and she says, do whatever Jesus tells you. So Jesus is in this awkward spot now. The servants are expecting Jesus to tell them something. So Jesus steps through this door, he steps through this opportunity, and he tells the servants, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take these ritual washing pots that hold about 20 to 30 gallons of water each, 6 of them, and I want you to fill them to the top. I want you to fill them to the brim, to the point that water is overflowing out of them. So the servants do that and they fill these water pots up. And after they have filled these water pots up, Jesus says, miraculously turn this water into wine. Now, just for the record, this is about 120 to 180 gallons of wine that's come from water. That's thousands of cups of wine. Jesus wants this party to keep going on. He wants the celebration to keep going on. He wants this couple to keep celebrating what God has given them. So the servants, they ladle out some wine from these pots and they take it to the host of the party, and the host of the party tastes the wine, and the host of the party is just like, oh, this is some of the best wine ever. This is so good. Now, he doesn't know where this has come from. He doesn't know how this has happened. He just knows that more wine has shown up for the party and that it's really good. And this is kind of a comical point in the story, kind of an ironic moment in the story. Jesus walks up to the host. He says, you're a really good host. You've done really well. You know, most of the time people give the best wine first at their parties, so that after they've had a bit to drink, after they're a little tipsy, so to speak, after they're a little buzzed, they can move on to the cheaper stuff and not know it's cheaper. You've saved the best for last. That's great. That's awesome. And that's kind of the end of this story. And it's an interesting moment because what we learn about Jesus from the story is that the sign of Jesus is Jesus turning water into wine. Now, wine played a crucial role in that culture. It played a crucial role in the Old Testament. When there was a lot of wine during the year, that meant that the land was plentiful that year. That meant that the land had life that year. Plenty of rain came, the weather was right, grapes were bountiful, the harvest was good, and they could make plenty of wine. It was just a symbol of God's life in the world. And when it wasn't so good, when there wasn't a lot of wine, when the ground was dry, when the ground seemed more like death than life, there wouldn't be any wine that year. There wouldn't be much wine that year. And that was just a symbol of there are just bad things going on. And so to run out of wine during the wedding would have kind of signified there's bad things ahead. But to keep having wine, to keep it going, that means there's life ahead. And Jesus is amazing like that. Jesus was making a statement. Water being turned into wine, that being the sign of Jesus, that means when Jesus is involved in whatever it is that he's involved in, there's life ahead. That really is the miracle. Because without Christ, it's just death ahead over and over and over. It's darkness and destruction and sadness. With Jesus, there can be life, and that's a statement that he's making in all of this. Now, I want to switch gears and share maybe just one more story, maybe one little more tidbit. At Jewish weddings of today, and even Jewish weddings as far back as when Jesus was around 2,000 years ago, there was this practice, and in this practice, a groom and a bride, they would drink from a cup. They would drink wine from a cup, and they would be the only two people to drink from this cup. And as they shared this wine together, they would kind of have their moment, and then they would smash this wine cup on the ground. And kind of what it signified is that no one could drink from this cup. It was for them. It was only for them. No one else could be a part of this, but it also signified the start of a new covenant, the start of life. It signified God doing what God does best and putting things together. Now, I can't help but think about another miracle Jesus performed with wine, kind of at the end of the Gospels. It's when Jesus is sitting down with his disciples and he shares a cup of wine with them at the Last Supper. He has this moment where he starts a new covenant of love with them, much like there was a new covenant of love being started at the wedding in Cana. And there was going to be life ahead. The wine would signify life ahead. And that is just such an amazing thing and such a good thing. So here's what we can walk away with this week. Here's what I'm walking away with this week. Jesus turning water into wine signifies life ahead. It wasn't so much about the wine itself. It was about what Jesus could do with it. And that's kind of our lives today. You might be living a life that's a water life, and you need some transformation. What you need is a wine life. And Jesus can do that for you. He can do that for me. So that's my prayer for you. That's my prayer, that you'll see the sign of Jesus in your life. You'll see water being turned into wine. You'll be seeing the celebration ahead. You'll be seeing life ahead. I love you guys. Hope you have a great week. Peace.